Good Thursday morning, everyone. This is Mitch. Hope you guys are having a great start to your Thursday and great work week so far. As we're getting going here and rocking and rolling, we got a big update on what is going on with this winter storm. Not just a winter storm, but there is a heavy rain part of this. There's a tornado threat. There's severe weather with this. And just impactful in general and very significant and covering a lot of states. So there's a lot to talk about. So if you guys have not subscribed, definitely consider doing that. It goes a long way, and I really appreciate y'all's amazing support. Like the video if you like it. It helps. Also, it helps to get the video out there, so I appreciate y'all doing that. Hit me up on social media, especially when weather's active like this. I'm active on Twitter. I'm active on Facebook. So it's a great way to stay up to date with the latest and greatest information because, of course, I can't make videos every hour on YouTube, so it's a great way to stay up to date. If you guys got anything I can pray about, please put in the comments below, and I'll definitely pray for you, and I'm sure others will do also. In fact, I know they will, so it's a great way to look out for one another and glorify God doing it. So let's get going here. So we're going to start this off and look at watches and warnings on the winter weather advisories, the winter storm warnings. Everybody in this purplish area right here, that is a winter weather advisory. So a large portion of Oklahoma, not quite the entire state, but almost. The far southeast portions of the state is still not under any kind of advisories. But look at this, you're starting to see northern portions of Texas, just north of Dallas-Fort Worth, under winter weather advisories. We'll see if this creeps a little bit further south. Winter storm warnings up, ongoing for the northern sections of Kansas, and then areas of northern Missouri as snow is falling right now at this moment as of around 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You got the winter storm watches up now, and check them out. They're up for areas of Kentucky and Ohio. So y'all already, where confidence is the highest, where significant snow is going to fall. That's why they've already dropped the winter storm watches up for y'all. And then check out West Virginia, several counties in Pennsylvania, and then the interior New York State region, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine has winter storm watches in several of their counties. So let's get going here. We're going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to take a look at the GFS, take a look at how much snow it's showing, Euro, same thing. Then we're going to start looking at the HRRR model and the NAM, and then take a look at the RGEM model, and then a couple other things regarding the heavy rain potential and the severe weather potential. So stick with me if y'all want to see all the models and what they're showing and how much, and for your specific area. Tonight I will try to get a little bit more specific as far as cities. So stick with me if you guys are wondering about timestamps, what time frame we're at. If I don't mention it, which sometimes I do, I'm definitely not perfect, guys. The date and the time is up here. This is in Eastern Standard Time, so if you're in Central Standard Time, back it up an hour. But we're going to start this up for around midday. Let's just say that for today. You got snow still falling in the northern half of Missouri, eastern and northeastern areas of Kansas. You keep this going here in time. This little piece of energy will start to kind of phase out or lessen, if you will. But then this piece of energy will continue to drop down, all snow because it's cold enough for snow here. A band of light to moderate snow will continue to push through as we're getting into Friday morning. So Friday morning, I think areas of more central to southern sections of Missouri could be dealing with some snow. And then snow starting to move into areas of Oklahoma. Now, there's going to be a transition point right here where low pressure is developing, and then this piece of energy is trying to fizzle out, but at the same time, it's about to start kind of amping up because it's starting to interact with this southern stream right here. So we're getting into Friday around midday, and then you have snow falling in Oklahoma City. How heavy is it going to be? Is it going to be heavy enough to be anything substantial? Or you keep this going into Friday evening, and I think this is when the low pressure can really start kicking up. You can start to have some higher precipitation rates, if you will, and then there's a chance for a burst of heavier snow, maybe just east, maybe just southeast or south of Oklahoma City. But we'll have to see. Does Oklahoma City maybe see a quick 1 to 2 inches of snow? Do they just see a dusting or just a little snow falling? Still a big question here. But look, we're freezing this for Friday evening. You got moderate to heavy snow moving into the Ozarks of Arkansas, the entire northern half, the entire southern and southeast half in the Quad States region. A band of snow stretching all the way from southern Illinois, southern Indiana, into central Ohio for your Friday evening around 5 to 7 p.m. When I say these hour time frames, if I actually give you like a 5 p.m. hour range, remember, this is give or take an hour. These aren't automatic hours, but it's in the range of those hours, if you know what I mean. But going through here in time, we're getting into overnight, it's Friday into Saturday. Low pressure really begins to develop. This is when winds can really pick up. There's going to be a severe weather threat down here. And this is where there's going to be enough cold air, maybe as far south as areas of maybe Shreveport, Louisiana, could at the end of this event, overnight, Friday into Saturday could switch to a brief period of snow. Accumulations, I doubt it. If there is, it's a quick dusting on the ground. That's it. But look at Memphis. GFS, a heavier band of snow printing out over here. And then Nashville, Tennessee, for example, it switched to all moderate to heavy snow. And then Kentucky, Ohio, you got snow already falling in the interior New York State. So we'll keep this rolling here as we're getting into Saturday morning at this time frame. This is when low pressure really begins to deepen. We're getting into Saturday morning. This is March 12th, this weekend. Heavy snow moving into the plateau of Tennessee. You got maybe a brief burst of heavier snow near Chattanooga or the far northwest counties of Georgia. Snow potentially falling in Huntsville, Alabama. And then you got heavier snow in eastern Kentucky, heavy snow in West Virginia, heavy snow in the far western sections, the higher elevations of Virginia, heavy snow, moderate to heavy snow up here into the entire western half of Pennsylvania. Far southeast Ohio, potential for moderate to heavy snow. But then this is really when it has a chance to intensify for areas of the interior New York State, where I think y'all could get anywhere from, it just depends on where you are, guys. Obviously, them higher hills, them higher elevations, them higher mountain peaks are going to see more higher snow totals. But, you know, y'all could see anywhere from 6 to 12 inches basically in the entire interior New York State area. But I think the GFS has actually ticked a little east. In fact, you back it up here. I'm going to back it up 3 runs, actually 4 runs. So what I'm about to do is I'm about to push it all the way to the most present run, right? 1, 2, 3. So you see how this low pressure is kind of on average ticked a little further east. Therefore, watch the precipitation. Watch this as it backs up. This is for the same time frame, right? Bang, 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 bang. You notice how the snow is kind of ticked east? Well, that tells us the low pressure could potentially track a little more east, which means snow could creep a little bit closer and quickly change the snow for those areas like Washington, D.C., Baltimore, maybe Philadelphia, maybe New York City as we're getting into Saturday afternoon time frame. Low pressure moving right over Boston. This is going to be probably spin up some high winds for Boston and southern New England for sure. And then it quickly could change to maybe a burst of snow at the end. Then northwest flow kicks in. Even wants to throw a little bit of snow here in northeast North Carolina in the Delmarva area. We'll have to see how that pans out. And then, you know, just interior heavy snow here moving forward here. So I spent a lot of time on the GFS, so we're going to have to start speeding this up a little bit, or this will go on for 45 minutes here. But the GFS prints out, you know, nothing substantial, really. I mean, even for any time of the year. But March, it is a little bit more impressive. But, you know, eastern Oklahoma, a few inches. Northern Arkansas, a few inches in general. I know a few isn't telling you a lot, but it's hard to get really specific. I will say, as far as Arkansas, the northwest part of Arkansas, the GFS wants to really, almost all models want to put the northwest part of Arkansas with the most snow in the state. But the entire state of Missouri in general, I think, could see accumulating snow for sure. And then you're getting into Kansas. You know, this snow will fall today, but Oklahoma City's a question mark, right? You know, maybe as much as 2 inches of snow, maybe as little as hardly nothing. So it's a big question mark here. We're looking into the eastern U.S. going forward here. Big time interior heavy snow for the interior New York State area. I think this will be a jackpot region for the entire storm in general. Over a foot snowfall total is possible. Buffalo, I think, could see a few inches of snow, but I think the heaviest snow will definitely be to your east, into the interior meat of New York State. But then there's going to be a band of heavier snow in Pennsylvania also. There really is several inches as possible. Pittsburgh could flirt with half a foot of snow, 6 inches. And then the entire, basically the western half of West Virginia could see a jackpot area, including eastern Kentucky and the far southeast counties of Ohio. Snowfall really ramps up the more southeast you get in Ohio. But somewhere in here is going to get a jackpot as far as the more southern, snowier section of the storm. But, you know, you look at the GFS with Tennessee in general, it wants to print out 3 to 4 inches of snow in Memphis. You're looking at Nashville, about the same, but probably a little bit more. This is 10-to-1 ratio. It's probably not going to be falling at 10-to-1 ratio in this part of the storm unless you get far up here. But this is impressive. You know, you look at the GFS for places like Chattanooga. Y'all get kind of gypped here, and you got to watch out for the valley between the plateau and the actual mountains of the Appalachian Mountains. This area tends to get kind of gypped when it comes to these snow events. So you kind of have to watch to see what happens here as far as snow. You know, watch for that. It's just an area that's tricky to forecast snow. It really is. A lot of times it busts low, but we'll see. I'm pulling for you guys. But, you know, you look at these northern fringes of Alabama, Mississippi, could certainly see a little bit of snow. How much is a big question. I think 1 to 2 inches in the far northern counties of Mississippi and Alabama is certainly a possibility. You look at the Euro, we keep this going here, and snow breaking out Friday morning across Oklahoma in general. But how heavy is it going to be? Is it going to kind of fizzle out? Well, the Euro likes the idea of Friday throughout the entire day, especially the morning hours, being a pretty nice moderate band of snow moving through Oklahoma, areas of northwest Arkansas, southern Missouri. It'll probably be a little bit lighter. We'll keep this going here. The Euro likes the idea of maybe Friday evening, rain turning to snow for areas like Dallas. How heavy will it be? Will it accumulate? If it does, I mean, if y'all get an inch of snow in Dallas, consider it a major win, in my opinion, if you're a winter weather fan, obviously. But the Euro really likes the idea of Friday evening in southeast Oklahoma being an area where y'all could, right when this low pressure is intensifying, y'all could have an area of maybe some heavier to moderate to heavy snow. And then obviously, I think the whole entire just northwest part of Arkansas is favored with some heavier snow. But then the snow even moves in a little bit later into the night, into the evening, Friday night, this coming Friday, for the entire state of Arkansas in general. So let's go on and flip this over here and keep this rolling here. And it done switched to the 06Z. I knew it was going to do this. So we'll go on and speed this up and get it back to where we were. But you notice in general, I mean, heavy snow falling in Memphis. It's not super heavy, but it's probably moderate to almost heavy snow in Memphis as we're getting into the middle of the night. This is really going to be a middle of the night kind of thing for western Kentucky, western Tennessee, and northern Mississippi. I think by the time you're waking up, it's probably starting to taper off. And a lot of people will go to sleep with nothing on the ground, wake up with maybe a few inches of snow on the ground in all these regions right here. Memphis, you know, if I had to call a shot for areas like Memphis, maybe northern Mississippi, anywhere from 1 to 3 inches is certainly possible. I know that don't sound like a drastic amount of snow, but that's a lot of snow for mid-March. It really is. You keep this going, we're getting into, in the wee hours of the morning Saturday, not quite when the sun comes up. This is when the storm really begins to intensify. This low pressure here begins to deepen. Sub 1,000 millibar low here begins to deepen here. And as it does, heavier rates are in response, and just a more dynamic storm begins to phase. It's not quite, it doesn't look like this is going to become a negatively tilted storm, but it's still a strong storm system. But look at this heavy, moderate to heavy snow breaking out over Alabama. Huntsville, Alabama has a period of several hours, maybe of some snow. But then this is when it changes over. This is when the snow intensifies for New York State, western Pennsylvania, southeast Ohio. This heavier snow really starts to move in Saturday morning for West Virginia. And this entire area right in here that I'm circling could really see someone I think could sneak in maybe 8 to 12 inches of snow. Who does it? I think eastern Kentucky, maybe somewhere on the western areas, the higher elevations of the western state of West Virginia. And then I think Pittsburgh could see half a foot of snow. It's going to be a nice event for mid-March standards if you're a winter weather fan. I always want to add that. Not everybody likes snow. A lot of people don't. But, of course, the Euro has always liked the idea of the snow making it to the big cities along the I-95 corridor. So you're getting a little bit later in the morning. And I'll stop it here. This is for around midday Saturday. I mean, you have heavy rain starting to turn into heavy snow for New York State, for Philadelphia, northern New Jersey. For Washington, D.C. The Euro has always liked the idea of these major cities along this region right here changing from rain to snow. And it even has rain changing to some light snow for areas of North Carolina and about the entire state of Virginia. And we go on to get this until later in the afternoon Saturday. I mean, and this is a heavier band of snow. It's not going to last long, but this is heavy rain changing to heavy snow for just about everybody, right? For everybody for the New England area and the Northeast in general. So it's going to be really interesting to see how quick you get a changeover. But you stop it right here with big-time Arctic air coming in. And I do apologize because I haven't mentioned how cold the temperatures are going to be behind this. I'll try to remember to do that tonight. There's a mouthful to talk about, guys. It really is. But I'm talking about temperatures, in the low 20s as far south as Georgia, South Carolina. This is going to be a deep freeze for mid-March standards. But this moves through, and lingering snow could, make it all the way to northeast North Carolina, to the Delmarva area. It's gonna be impressive for mid-March standards. I know I've killed that to death saying that in these videos, but it really is. It's a great threshold to mention because all this snow for mid-March standards is really, really impressive. Snowfall from the latest Euro for these areas, you compare it with the GFS, and not much different here as we're going forward here, but in general, this is not going to be a large event. And, the Euro actually wants to kind of not like these areas western Tennessee. You know, for example, GFS is showing 3 to 4 inches for Memphis. Euro likes the idea of maybe 1 to 2 inches. So it's not a big difference. But in general, you know, 1 to 2 inches is a win if you're a winter weather fan for Memphis. But, you know, Northwest Arkansas is an area where all models are pretty much honed in that this is going to be a moderate winter storm for this area. But, you know, you got to watch Dallas. You know, the Euro is kind of sporadic. This is right when this low pressure is going to be cranking up. Euro for basically Oklahoma City regions and all cities surrounding that region, maybe 1 to 2, 3 inches of snow is possible. This snow is the snow that falls today with several inches of snow expected. We'll go on and switch this to the eastern U.S. And, of course, we got to back this off the 06Z because it has not got done running, so I don't really not going to show it, but it could show a different scenario. Latest European for this storm. I mean, like I said, interior New York State, I hate to work from the later part of the storm to the sooner part, if you know what I mean, but interior New York State, I feel like I haven't mentioned y'all enough. Vermont, New Hampshire, you guys, especially the more northwest you get, or the central part of the northwest you get, I don't want to jumble up my words here, but you guys are going to get hit hard. This is going to be a nice late season winter storm for you, for ski country up in these regions. It really is. And I really think the interior New York State's going to see over 1 foot of snow in a lot of places. Buffalo, like I said, points west, sees a lot of snow. But one thing's interesting on the European is it shows Pittsburgh maybe only getting 3 to 4 inches of snow. So the Euro doesn't really like the idea of there being a jackpot region in this area at all. It just gives widespread 3 to 5 inches of snow. Now, it does pinpoint this area of over 1/2 foot of snow in eastern Kentucky. So that tells you that there's a lot of confidence that this is going to happen somewhere in here. But, you know, northeast Tennessee into Nashville, I would tell you the National Weather Service is leaning in this region towards the Euro. It likes the idea, but, you know, the National Weather Service is always going to go conservative. But it even throws Chattanooga a bone and gives y'all 2 inches of snow in Chattanooga. But the eastern slopes of the Appalachian Mountains into North Carolina, I haven't mentioned y'all guys a lot, but I really think if y'all want snow, you want to go to the western slopes. You want to go to places like Gatlinburg and just Knoxville, even though Knoxville's not really in the mountains, it's really in the valley. But in general, the western slopes of the mountains into Tennessee is where I think the heavier snow is going to fall. But in general, I really think the entire state of Tennessee just about sees accumulating snow. And like I said, even into northern Alabama, northern Mississippi, accumulating snow is definitely possible. We're going to switch this up, and we really need to speed this up because we not even halfway through the tabs. I want to mention the HRRR model too because it's important. It likes the idea. It only goes out to 48 hours, but it really wants to kind of draw this up for central Oklahoma. And it has a lot of pink here, like you're going to have a lot of sleet or freezing rain. That's possible. Sleet is definitely possible. So I don't want to completely say that's not going to happen. But as we're getting into Friday afternoon tomorrow, this is when you have a band of snow. But look how it skips northwest Arkansas. Very interesting. So you got to watch how these trends happen. This is the latest long-range HRRR model, so we just got to see what happens with this. But going through in time, you got snow moving into the late night, evening hours, into western Tennessee, into Kentucky. Going through in time, low pressure really begins to amp up here. We're getting into the overnight hours, and snow is really falling for these sections right here from the latest HRRR model. And then this is as far out as it goes. So gives you the idea like, hey, okay, so it's pretty confident that we're going to have rain change in the snow for these regions right in here, Tennessee, northern Mississippi, and even northwest Alabama. And then look at the band of snow setting up in Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York State. So NAM, going through here in time, HRRR model, I meant to show you, this is what I meant to show y'all guys. This is 48 hours out. It kind of gyps these areas. So we got to watch these short range models. But then again, you look at the NAM for these same regions, look how juiced up it is. I'm sorry I'm skipping some tabs up here, but we got to speed this up here. I don't want to talk for a light year here. But this is the NAM, snowfall totals for the NAM. Look at areas just in northern Mississippi and areas in Memphis. Several inches of snow showing up from the NAM. It's just a trend you got to watch. It's not even a trend. NAM tends to overdo things, but sometimes it's right on cue. But one thing interesting with the NAM is it wants to keep y'all pretty dry in northwest Arkansas also. Now, it does have some widespread accumulating snow, but nothing really like the global models are showing. So it's just something to watch here. And then we're going to look for the eastern U.S. for the NAM. And, of course, the NAM's going to go ham. NAM's going to go ham. Y'all like that? For these areas right here. But the NAM likes a more southern solution. It wants to put areas of central to eastern areas basically east central areas of Pennsylvania and the heaviest snow. It wants to give more areas to the central and eastern areas of West Virginia the heaviest snow. And it does give the far eastern counties of Kentucky heavy snow. And then it wants to really light up northeast Tennessee with heavy snow. But it gives the entire state of Tennessee accumulating snow, northern Alabama, northern Mississippi accumulating snow. But it's a lot of heavy snow, over a foot, widespread totals. Definitely going to be happening for New York State, Vermont, New Hampshire, and areas of the interior areas of Maine. So that's definitely looking likely to happen. Look at the RGEM model, and going forward here, this has been a more reliable model this year, but we're getting going here in time. It likes the idea of widespread snow breaking out Friday morning, tomorrow morning for Oklahoma, for a band of heavier, very small band, but a heavier band of snow breaking out over northwest Arkansas that really could maybe give you 3 to 4 hours of heavy snow. And it starts out as rain in Memphis, for example, for late Friday evening, and then turns quickly to a heavy burst of snow that really could give you guys 1 to 2, 3 inches of snow. I really think 1 to 2 is a great threshold for that area. But look at northern Mississippi. Might be a tricky spot that maybe somebody could really bust in the high end for snow, especially if something like the RGEM model really comes to friction here. Heavier returns, heavy rain going to heavy snow. But look at this heavier band of snow setting up down here in Kentucky, Nashville, Tennessee, Ohio, and then the low pressure really begins to get ramped up. And then it goes to heavy rain to heavy snow for the entire eastern Tennessee area. It wants to give snow all the way into Birmingham, Alabama down here. It's very interesting to see that heavy snow for West Virginia, southeast Ohio, and then Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, for example, in the interior northeast. And we'll keep this rolling here. And the RGEM model does not like the idea of any substantial snow for anybody in the I-95 corridor. So that's something to watch. Really is. We look at these guys and we look at the folks in the eastern U.S. here in the RGEM model. And that is a band that's kind of setting up like the NAM is, maybe a little bit more west, but a lot of snow based off this. It really is based off this RGEM model. I mean, you look at basically figure out where you are on this map, and that is several inches of snow all the way into northern Alabama and northern Mississippi. Very crazy to see. If something like this happens, you can get over a half a foot of snow in Nashville, Tennessee. It's pretty crazy. And then over a foot totals maybe in some areas of eastern Kentucky, and then interior snow. This only goes out to 60 hours, so it's still snowing for these sections out here from this model. So in general, meant to have this pull up. Here we go. Chances of over an inch of snow. Pretty high for northwest Arkansas, for almost all of Missouri. Oklahoma, you could get, it's pretty much I think an 80 to 90% chance to see an inch of snow. So if you're a winter weather fan in Oklahoma City, I think you will see enough snow to make everything white. Are you going to get a major winter storm out of this? No, I think that'll be more for the eastern U.S. But still, accumulating snow in mid-March for a winter weather fan, I'd call that a win. I really would. The entire state of Tennessee, over a 50% chance to see snow. It has increased for areas around Chattanooga and the valley in general. Chances have increased. I know you're thinking an inch of snow ain't much, Mitch, but if you're a winter weather fan and I lived in Tennessee and it was mid-March, to me it would be a win. It really would. I know y'all have seen crazier things in mid-March around Tennessee, but you're starting to see down here in northern Alabama, northern Mississippi, chances are pretty substantial for over an inch of snow. So it's all obviously automatic once you get up here. But North Carolina, you get into Virginia, and the state basically is cut in half as far chances. So there is a severe weather chance for the southeast tomorrow. And, to see the slight risk up, there is a tornado potential also. You got the 5% chance of a tornado and 25 miles in any given location in this brown area. So be careful with this. And really what I'm watching tomorrow is a complete washout for areas of southern Alabama, the entire state of Georgia, South Carolina as you're getting into the afternoon and evening hours. And what worries me with this setup is you're not going to have really discrete storms. If something is going to spin up here, I think it's going to be embedded in a lot of heavy rain. So you might have some rain-wrapped tornadoes. Hopefully this doesn't really materialize. We'll have to see how it happens. But heavy rain with this. Strong winds kicking up too, and I'll mention that more tonight. But look at this heavy snow right here in eastern Tennessee from the 3KM model. Very impressive. But one thing we're also watching Saturday morning as this gets going, a line of intense thunderstorms for basically eastern Georgia, the panhandle of Florida, South Carolina, maybe even all the way up to North Carolina. This could be an intense, damaging wind threat, so we'll have to watch this, and then the cold air filters in. That's all I got. A 25-minute video to start your Thursday morning off. So hopefully I don't get no age restricted crap come up, because man, that was frustrating. I had to run all the way back to my house, re-upload my video. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But thank y'all for tuning in. God bless everybody. Have a great day, and I'll talk to y'all this evening.